There is a quiet pride in being the person who is always there for others. It feels good to know that you are the one people turn to when they are hurting, when they need someone to listen, or when they feel like no one else understands. It can even feel like part of who you are, as though you were meant to be the steady, dependable one. But sometimes that same quality that makes you such a safe place for others becomes the reason you feel so exhausted and worn down. Have you ever noticed that after helping everyone else, there is very little left for you? Have you ever realized that you're carrying everyone's worries in your chest and you're not sure how to put them down? This is what we are talking about today, the hidden cost of always being there for everyone. Chapter 1. The gift of being there for others. There is something deeply meaningful about being the person others turn to when life feels too heavy for them to carry alone. Maybe you have always been that way. The quiet observer who notices when someone is not quite themselves. The one who senses the weight in a friend's voice before they ever say a word. For you, caring is not something you turn on and off. It is part of the way you move through the world. You notice, you listen, you understand. Sometimes, even before someone knows how to explain what they are feeling. When someone comes to you, you make space for them. You sit with their pain and let them share it without rushing them or making them feel judged. That ability to create a safe space is rare. Many people struggle to hold silence. Many people rush to give advice or fix things right away. But you have a way of simply being there, of letting someone feel what they feel, and that is powerful. For someone who is hurting, your presence is like finding a calm place in the middle of a storm. And that gift does not just help others. It also shapes the way you see yourself. Being the one who shows up can feel like a source of purpose, a way to know that your existence is making a difference. When someone feels lighter after talking to you, there is a quiet sense of pride that blooms inside. It is proof that you matter, that your kindness has weight in a world that can feel cold and hurried. But what makes this gift so beautiful is also what makes it so demanding. Your ability to sense and absorb the emotions of others is not something you can easily switch off. When someone you care about is struggling, it feels almost impossible to look away. You may notice that even small hints of someone else's discomfort pull at you. A sigh, a quiet pause, a distracted expression, and without thinking, you lean in. You ask how they are. You offer a comforting word. You give your time and your heart freely because it feels like the right thing to do. There is also a unique kind of strength in the way you hold space for people. It is not loud or forceful. It is steady and quiet, the kind of strength that does not need to announce itself. When others are falling apart, you are often the one who stays grounded, who helps hold the pieces together. This is why so many people trust you with their deepest thoughts and worries. You have proven again and again that you can carry them without judgment, that you can sit with discomfort without turning away. But this is also where the line between choice and obligation begins to blur. At first, you might simply enjoy being there for others. It feels natural and right. But over time, it can start to feel like the thing you're expected to do. People know you as the dependable one, the one who will always answer the late-night message, who will always offer a listening ear. And even when you're tired, even when your own heart feels full, you may feel pressure to show up because you worry about what might happen if you do not. This is where being there for others stops being a choice and starts becoming an identity. You might not even realize it is happening. One day, you notice that you're no longer asking yourself whether you have the energy to hold someone else's pain. You're simply doing it automatically because that is what you have always done. And even though this comes from a place of love, it is also the first sign that the gift you carry may be costing you more than you think. The beauty of being there for others should never be overlooked. It is a rare quality in a world that moves quickly and often skips over the deeper parts of human connection. Your ability to notice, to care, to stay present is something that makes you extraordinary. But it is also something that must be cared for and protected because even the strongest hearts can grow tired if they are always carrying someone else's weight. Chapter 2: The Silent Toll It Takes. What often goes unnoticed is how, quietly, the cost builds up over time. Being the one who is always there sounds beautiful, and it is, but it slowly asks more and more of you. At first, you may not feel it at all. Supporting others feels like second nature, and you have the energy to offer a kind word, a long conversation, or a thoughtful gesture. But little by little, the constant giving begins to leave small marks on you. It might begin with feeling just a little tired after certain conversations, but you brush it off because helping feels worth it. Then you notice that you're going to bed still thinking about what someone told you earlier in the day. Your mind keeps replaying their words, wondering what else you could do for them, what advice you might give, what pain they might still be carrying right now. You wake up still thinking about them, and over time you realize that your own thoughts and feelings are taking a back seat to everyone else's. There is a kind of invisible weight that comes with holding so much space for others. No one else can see it, so they may not notice that you are carrying more than just your own life. You might find yourself being unusually quiet in a group because your energy feels drained, even though nothing dramatic has happened. Or you may notice that you feel tense or heavy for reasons you cannot explain, only to realize later that you have been carrying someone else's sadness without even realizing it. This is one of the most challenging parts of being a deeply caring person, the way you can take in the emotions of others so completely that they begin to live in your own body. You feel other people's anxiety in your own chest. You feel their heartbreak as if it were your own. And because this is happening quietly inside of you, others may assume you're fine, that you're handling everything with ease. But there comes a point where this quiet carrying starts to cost you. You notice you're more tired than usual. You have less time to yourself. Your own needs feel like an afterthought. And even when you do have a moment of rest, you may feel guilty for taking it. The habit of putting others first becomes so strong that you sometimes forget that you deserve the same care and attention you offer so freely to everyone else. And perhaps the hardest part is that you might not want to admit that it feels heavy. You may worry that saying you are tired or that you need a break will make you seem selfish. You may fear that someone will feel abandoned if you pull back even slightly. So you keep going, you keep showing up, and you keep holding space, even when your own heart is asking for rest. This silent toll can begin to affect every part of your life. Your energy feels lower. Your ability to enjoy small, simple pleasures starts to fade because your mind is so full. You might even begin to feel disconnected from yourself, unsure of what you want or need, because you're so focused on everyone else. And that quiet disconnection can feel lonely in a way that is difficult to put into words. This is the part that many people do not see when they look at someone who is endlessly supportive and kind. They see the strength, the patience, the calm presence, but they do not see how much it can hurt to carry so much. They do not see the moments you feel like you have nothing left to give, but still find a way to show up. The truth is, even the most caring person has limits. And when those limits are ignored for too long, you risk losing touch with the very qualities that make you so compassionate in the first place. Caring deeply should not mean forgetting yourself completely. Chapter 3. How Empaths Lose Themselves Without Realizing. There comes a point where giving so much of yourself stops being something you do and quietly becomes who you are. It happens slowly, almost without you noticing, like water smoothing a stone over time. You become known as the reliable one, the understanding one, the person who will always pick up the phone, always listen, always stay, until everything feels a little lighter for someone else. At first, this identity feels comforting. It feels good to know that others trust you so deeply. But slowly, you might notice that your own thoughts, needs, and desires begin to blur in the background. You're so used to tuning into others that you forget to ask yourself what you truly want. You may find yourself agreeing to things that do not feel right simply because it feels easier than saying no. You might find yourself automatically offering help before you have stopped to check whether you even have the energy to give. Over time, you might notice that the line between your emotions and the emotions of others becomes hard to see. You take in their anger, their sadness, their stress, and you carry it with you as if it belongs to you. Some days, you may even wake up feeling heavy without being able to explain why, only to realize later that you are carrying someone else's storm in your own chest. This is the part of the empath's journey that feels most confusing, when you can no longer tell where other people's pain ends and where your own begins. You feel responsible for fixing things that were never yours to fix. You find yourself trying to prevent other people's struggles before they even happen, because the thought of seeing them hurt feels unbearable. And somewhere in the middle of all of this, you start to disappear a little, not all at once, but slowly. Your boundaries soften, your voice grows quieter, and you start making yourself smaller so that you can hold more space for others. You might even find yourself ignoring that small inner voice that's quietly asking for rest, connection, or joy. Losing yourself this way is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is subtle. It happens in the moments when you say yes, even though you wanted to say no. It happens when you put your own feelings aside to take care of someone else's. It happens when you keep showing up for others, even as you feel your energy draining away. And after a while, you might notice that you feel disconnected from the things that once made you feel alive. Maybe you no longer do the things that brought you peace because you do not have the time or energy. Maybe you feel like you do not even know what those things are anymore. That loss of self can be one of the most painful parts of always being there for everyone else. But here is the quiet truth. Losing yourself does not mean you're broken. It does not mean you're weak. It means you have been carrying too much for too long, and it is your heart's way of telling you that something needs to shift. It is a reminder that you deserve to exist fully as yourself, not just as a source of comfort for others. This realization can feel heavy, but it is also the beginning of something powerful. It is the first step toward finding balance, toward learning how to care for others without abandoning yourself in the process. Chapter 4. The cost of ignoring your own needs. When you spend so much of your energy caring for everyone else, it is easy to believe that your own needs can wait. You tell yourself you will rest later. You will slow down when things calm down. You will take care of yourself when everyone else is okay. But what no one tells you is that later often never comes. There is always another person who needs you, another moment where you feel pulled to give just a little more. And slowly, the things that keep you grounded begin to slip away. At first, the cost shows up in small ways. You feel more tired than usual. You start to lose focus during the day because your mind is always spinning with other people's worries. You might notice that you are more irritable, more sensitive, or that the things you normally enjoy no longer bring you the same sense of comfort. These are quiet signals from your body telling you that it is running low on energy. Over time, the cost becomes harder to ignore. You may find yourself feeling emotionally drained, even on days when nothing particularly hard has happened. Your mood might shift more quickly, your patience might feel thinner, and you might notice yourself pulling away from people simply because you have nothing left to give. Ignoring your own needs also begins to affect how you see yourself. You may start to feel invisible, as though your role in life is only to hold others up and never to be held yourself. There can be a deep loneliness in that feeling, a quiet ache that comes from knowing that you are always the helper, but rarely the one being asked how you are really doing. And sometimes the toll becomes physical. Stress builds up in the body. You might feel tense all the time, find it hard to relax, or even notice that your sleep is affected. These physical signs are not just inconveniences. They are signals that something is out of balance. They are your body's way of telling you that it is time to slow down and take care of yourself before you run empty. One of the hardest truths to face is that ignoring your own needs does not just hurt you. It can also affect the way you care for others. When you are running on empty, it becomes harder to be patient, harder to stay compassionate, and harder to be fully present. Your ability to give starts to lose its softness and instead begins to feel heavy, maybe even resentful. And yet, many empaths continue pushing through these feelings, believing that taking time for themselves is selfish. But the truth is, caring for yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. When you refill your own energy, you're able to show up for others in a way that is genuine, wholehearted, and sustainable. The cost of ignoring yourself is high, but the good news is that it is never too late to change. The moment you begin listening to your own needs, even in small ways, you start to bring yourself back into balance. And when you are balanced, you can care for others from a place of fullness instead of depletion. Chapter 5. Finding your way back to yourself. There is a quiet moment when you finally realize that you cannot keep pouring from an empty cup. That moment may come after exhaustion catches up with you, or after a long day where you realize you gave everything you had to everyone else and had nothing left for yourself. It might come softly as a small whisper in your heart that says, "I need something different." And that whisper is where everything begins to shift. Finding your way back to yourself is not about shutting people out. It is not about becoming cold or uncaring. It is about learning to value your own needs as much as you value the needs of those you care about. For many empaths, this is one of the hardest lessons to learn, that you are allowed to take up space, to rest, to say no, and to choose yourself sometimes. The first step is awareness. You begin by noticing when you feel drained, when you feel resentful, when you feel like you're given out of obligation instead of love. These moments are not signs of failure. They are signposts pointing you toward what needs to change. You might start by asking yourself small questions throughout the day. How do I feel right now? What do I need in this moment? What would make me feel lighter? The next step is learning to pause before giving. When someone asks for your time or energy, give yourself permission to take a moment and check in with yourself before saying yes. You might be surprised at how powerful it feels to honor your own capacity instead of automatically putting someone else first. Saying, I need to think about that, or I don't have the space right now can feel uncomfortable at first, but it is also incredibly freeing. Reconnecting with yourself also means creating space just for you. Space to sit quietly, to breathe, to do something that brings you joy with no purpose other than to refill your spirit. This space does not have to be dramatic. It could be as simple as taking a walk alone, writing down your thoughts at the end of the day, or spending a few minutes doing something creative that lets you express yourself. These small acts begin to rebuild the connection to your own heart, and slowly you begin to notice a shift. You feel a little lighter, a little more at peace. You find yourself able to show up for others with genuine warmth again because you're no longer running on empty. You start to recognize that you are more than just a support system. You are a whole person with your own needs, dreams, and feelings that deserve attention too. One of the most powerful parts of this process is learning that you can still be deeply caring and still have boundaries. The two do not cancel each other out. In fact, they work together. Boundaries protect your ability to care in a way that is sustainable, in a way that feels good rather than draining. They allow you to stay connected to yourself while staying present for others. Finding your way back to yourself is not about becoming someone different. It is about coming home to the person you were before the world taught you to carry everything for everyone else. It is about remembering that your needs matter, that your feelings deserve space, and that caring for yourself is the foundation for everything you give to others. This journey takes time, but every small step matters. Each time you pause to check in with yourself, each time you choose rest over obligation, each time you honor your own limits, you're building a life where you can care for others without losing yourself. Being someone who is always there for others is a rare and beautiful gift, but it is not one you're meant to give at the expense of yourself. You were never meant to disappear under the weight of everyone else's needs. The truth is that your care, your compassion, and your presence mean so much more when they come from a place of wholeness. Learning to listen to your own needs is not selfish. It is an act of respect for yourself and for the people you care about. When you are rested, when you feel connected to yourself, you have the capacity to love without resentment, to help without exhaustion, and to be there for others without losing yourself in the process. This journey back to yourself is one of the most important journeys you will ever take. It is about remembering that you are not just here to hold space for others, you're here to live fully, to experience joy, and to feel light in your own heart. The price you have paid for always being there for everyone can become the foundation for a new way of living, one where you still care deeply, but also stand firmly in who you are. The people who truly value you will respect the balance you create. And slowly, you will find that you are able to show up for others in a way that feels authentic, loving, and free. Because you are finally showing up for yourself, too.